when I went to grad school, it was like, okay, do I go into sociology or psychology? Because or something, politics. No, I'm not a politician. But I did think that psychology at least was one place where we might be able to identify some mechanisms to protect against stress. And it probably won't take care of everything, but maybe there's something we can do to help. So building on the types of stressors we were talking about, what we've learned is that that when folks are able to feel a sense of control over their lives and feel or develop a sense of control over their body's physiological reactions to stress, that can help. And so over the last 15 years or so, I've been looking at, are there types of coping that when folks use them, does it protect against the development of things like anxiety and depression? And I focus more on the psychological side than the physical side. Although some of our more recent research has looked at things like doctor's visits, number of days sick from work, so we've been moving into the health realm. And we found that there are a couple of kinds of coping that really do seem to protect against developing problems in the face of this kind of stress. The problem is, so that's great, woohoo, yay, let's teach those in an intervention. The problem is, too much stress interferes with folks' ability to use those. So we find this mediated effect, so pathways. So we find that one of the ways that stress has a negative effect on the development of things like anxiety, depression, and health problems is by reducing people's ability to use effective coping. So we've been thinking about, okay, gosh, how can we know what works, but stress makes it too difficult to use what works. So what are we going to do about that? And we've actually come up with somewhat of a solution. But just to give you a sense of the kinds of coping that have been shown to fairly robustly buffer against stress, skills that folks use to manage their emotions, self-calming techniques, ways to manage intrusive thoughts, negative thoughts that keep kind of bombing your brain and making you feel terrible. There are ways to manage those, and people can become practiced at doing it. Developing ways to regulate behavior and that physiological arousal that comes along with the stress response. And then even taking direct steps to solve problems, and et cetera. So we actually work on developing coping techniques in 2 steps. Recognizing that step 2 is probably where we're going to have the bang for our buck, that coming up with solid ways to solve problems and coming up with solid ways to counteract negative thinking, that's where we're going to have really significant impact on our daily life. But we can't get there because we're too physiologically aroused by chronic stress. So we actually have to do this first step of learning how to breathe, learning how to relax first. And so first we work with clients and kids and families to really become able to relax yourself quickly in the moment, even in the grocery store, even with your kids screaming in the background. That otherwise our physiological stress responses are going to get in the way. They're going to muddy our concentration. They're going to muddy our ability to really get lots of energy to do good coping. Okay, so now we get to do some yay! So let's everyone